Hi, my name's Eric Moore. I'm a design thinking practitioner, trainer, and advisor based in Seattle, Washington. So stick around to hear how you can use design thinking for a better 2019. Now, if you've not visited my channel before, normally I throw up funny videos or personal projects, some of them business related, but this year I really want to focus on sharing what I've learned using the design thinking methods. You may hear me use the term human-centric design or human-centered design. They're all interchangeable because at the heart of it, design thinking is about solving for people, being in the service of people, not just solutioning for solution's sake. Now, if you've come to this video to discuss product design or product engineering, there's plenty of other places you can find it. I'm really here to explore the methods and how you can put them into use and apply them in your daily lives. Whether you're a business person, entrepreneur, or just a working family, just like I am, we can find ways to explore to use these methods. Now, for this episode, I'll provide a brief explanation and history of design thinking and provide you an example method and leave you with some actionable items you can try at the end of this video, either today, tomorrow, or the next. So let's jump into it. Now, for those of you who don't like history, bear with me. There was a mechanical engineer professor by the name of John Arnold who authored a book that argued that if you blend creativity and imagination with the engineering world, you're going to come up with better solutions. Now, if you've ever been exposed to any form of engineering, there's a level of mathematical and scientific rigor that usually goes in solving for some of those engineering problems. So what Professor Arnold was trying to demonstrate is that if we focus too much on the scientific or mathematical rigor, we end up with essentially making the same thing. By adding creativity and some imagination, engineers in this case were able to come up with new ways of solving a problem that could be beneficial towards an end. In this case, some of that resulting thought process came in the form of how NASA approached the way they redesigned their cockpits for astronauts. There's a lot more written on this in depth, but I think it helps ground the conversation of where design thinking came from, that it's not just meant for someone in a beret and a smock with paints. Now, today there are a variety of agencies, organizations who either use design thinking or create trainings around it. And one such notable company started in the 80s by the name of IDEO. Now, you may know them as being one of the big companies using design thinking to make the Apple Macintosh mouse. It was actually the first one. In short, no. Design thinking is not just for designers. It's really a discipline to solving problems that are in service of people. Because if we're just solving to solve a problem, well, then we're not considering the people whom it's going to affect or solve for. Now, to be clear, just because it has design in the title, design thinking, human-centered design, does not mean you have to be a designer in the traditional sense of the word. Whether it's graphic design, furniture design, whether you're engineering or not, it is in essence design in this way, coming up with a process to solve a problem. You're designing a solution. In fact, you do design thinking every day, from the clothes you wear to the type of wash cycle you're going to use with them at the end of the week. And so what design thinking does is provide you a language and a visual framework to understand ways to solve a problem. And just like the little tag in your clothes, there is a visual language there telling you when to iron, when not to iron, when to tumble dry, when to dry clean. It's very similar, although arguably design thinking is solving for bigger problems. Are questions more powerful than answers? Well, you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you immediately answer yes or no. The whole point is to ask more questions. But it is a powerful takeaway inside of design thinking, which is asking questions to gain clarity and consensus. What this really means is listening and then reflecting back what you heard through forms of questions to get a better understanding of what the other person needs. And in doing so, you build consensus. You and the other person or a team agree, yes, these are the problems, we've talked about them, and we can move forward on a possible solution. I was recently in the market for a garage door. The door, the opener, needed everything. And so in our online world these days, I can simply plug in a few parameters and ask for an estimator to come out. Now, I've done some research on the materials, steel versus wood, belt-driven garage door motors versus chain. And just to give you some context, we just have a single door. It's kind of beat up, but it's a little bit functional. We weren't going to have any swing out barn doors. We didn't have the room, and security and warmth were a big concern. Insulation. But I had already in my mind made up what type of materials I wanted, what type of garage door I wanted, and I sent that for the estimator's consideration in the online form. Now, most estimators, in my experience, come to my home and they try to upsell me, or they try to sell me something I don't even need. And so in my case this time around, the estimator started asking me questions. Well, why do you need the garage? It looks pretty functional already. Why did you choose the materials that you chose? Why that particular garage door opener? And then he starts unpacking what I'll call strategic or long-term questions. How long are you planning to stay? Do you want to sell it? Have you considered these colors instead because they have a better resale value? And so not only is he unearthing or surfacing some real genuine answers to these questions, he's building trust because he's showing himself as being an expert. But after it, he said, I could sell you whatever you want straight away. I actually will make money off it, but I'm more interested in getting you the right solution. And we ended up spending $1,000 less than what we would have based on poorly educated materials. I was already in my mind, I already broke my own rule of solving the problem before asking the questions. And this estimator came in and backed up and unpacked that for me. So again, not only did he build trust, he built value. Now, a couple of years ago, the Washington Monument was experiencing rapid deterioration, mainly in its stone and marble strata. And most involved in its upkeep, saw the problem as being the harsh chemicals it was used to clean the monument. And someone in that group stopped and asked more questions and said, well, why are we using the chemicals in the first place? To which they replied, to clean up the pigeon poop. Okay, well, why are there pigeons there in the first place? I mean, if you look at the Washington Monument, it's an obelisk. It's got sharp edges. There's really no place to perch, let alone let a bird do its business. Well, lo and behold, the birds were coming there to eat spiders that were accumulating the monument. Then she asked, well, why are there spiders? Well, because they were feasting off moths, which happens to be a delicacy for spiders. Well, it was from there that they determined the moths were attracted to the monument's lights that were kept on at night for a variety of reasons. So they concluded that it was the lights, not the knee-jerk reaction of the chemicals, as being the core problem. And so they came up with a solution that scheduled the lights to come on later at night, which then reduced the moths coming almost 100% to no more spiders, to no more pigeons, and therefore no more poop. But this method of unpacking is what we'll call the problem tree review. Some people just call it a problem tree or a problem analysis. And it can be done in short order. I mean, it was only 5 questions really that this woman asked during the Washington Monument exercise. So this isn't some overwrought process, but the problem tree review is a really interesting and good visual technique to use to unpack different questions. And so when you think about it, at first glance, a tree in a forest, you rarely focus on its distinct parts. Right? You don't look at all the branches, you're not looking down at the roots. And instinctually, you do this the same way with some of the problems that we're trying to solve. You grasp it in general, and you start solutioning without really stopping and examining the branches and the roots. And in the middle, if you think about the tree metaphor, the middle is the core problem or the statement of what you're trying to solve for. So again, the roots are all the causes, the branches, the effects. The trunk is your problem statement. So take a look at this visual. You don't have to have some fancy template. Write it down on a piece of paper. Exercise this with family members or colleagues. Is there a particular problem you guys are trying to work out? Have you asked all of the questions? Have you heard from everybody's feedback? It's important to get consensus, because if you all agree that these are some of the problems, then you can have a better sense of teamwork in solving for those. So start that today, and I want to leave you with one final thought. Design thinking is about doing the right thing versus doing things right. All too often, we can get to busy work and we think we're doing the right things. Well, we are doing little right things. But if they're not solving for the overall problem, then you might as well not be doing them at all.